Hey everyone, how's it going? I am Zeracon and I am back once again. Something happened earlier this week that it was so absurd that I want to talk about. So a company called PowerGPU made a tweet, got flack for it, and doubled down on it. I have never heard of this company until I saw a retweet about this, so learning that this is a professional PC building company was a bit surprising. But let's dig into what's going on. So it started with Power GPU saying, if your budget for a PC is around $500 to $800, you are better off getting one of the new consoles unless there is just a certain game you really want to play on PC and you need the functionality of a PC, or you find really good deals on used PC hardware. At that range, console wins. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm gonna put this out there anyway. I don't care if you game on PC or console. If you want to get a PS5 or Xbox Series console, go do it. It is your money. If you want to get a PC, that's cool. If you want to Switch, that's fine. If you want a Stadia, I will stone you in the public square. Nah, I'm just kidding. But seriously, play on whatever platform you want. Like, it's your money, it's your decision, so do what you want to do. That being said, though, this statement is wrong for saying that playing on a PC is only good for a certain game or because I need the functionality of a PC. What if I just want to have full control over the performance of my games? What if I want mouse and keyboard support for all games? What if I want mods? What if I'm getting a budget PC with the goal of improving the components later on, extending the overall life of my build? This tweet ignores all of this, and it's really disappointing because it's coming from a presumably professional PC building company. This should be common knowledge to them. Heck, they're essentially telling people to not buy from them. This is a bold statement, but foolish. Let's look at some of the replies. Mine is a little above 1000, but anyway, I wouldn't change the multifunction of a PC, escalation, and most important, I can play games from PS, Xbox, and Nintendo, some with monthly payment, others with emulators. So, nope. We are talking legally. Of course you can get an emulator, but that is not legal. Okay, Power GPU, I am starting to have doubts about you. Emulation in of itself is not legal. If it were, so many companies would be committing crimes. Nintendo emulated their games. Remember the NES and SNES classics? That's emulation. Sony emulated their games for the PlayStation Classic. Bethesda put the original Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall files on their website for people to download for free. However, unless you have an old PC that still runs DOS, you're going to need to use an emulator just to play them. Oh, and since Microsoft bought Bethesda, they're advocates for emulation. Shoot. But wait, Windows has a built-in emulator to run programs or files that were in older versions of Windows. So, they're already pro-emulation. Also, if emulation is so illegal, RetroArch, Dolphin, PCXS2, and others would have been shut down ages ago. You do not know what you're talking about. This is completely wrong. Emulation is not illegal. $70 games, $60 a year for the privilege of using your own internet, the price for supported SSDs if you want more space, that next-gen fee in some games you already own. If you prefer consoles, fine, but don't try to tell people they're the cheap route. Exactly. With a PC, you're paying for everything up front. You're not paying to play online every year. You aren't paying for revamped games. The full total price is being paid up front. The $70 isn't really a big topic yet. Not every game is going to hit that price tag on the PS5 and Series X, but some AAA titles will. And yes, you're being restricted by the SSDs that support those systems if you want to upgrade your storage. On a PC, you can use whatever type of storage you want as long as your motherboard supports it, which I'm assuming you bought the motherboard that does that. I already talked before about how PC gamers don't have to pay for updated graphics because those settings carry over to the next upgrade for their current build and whatever PC they build in the future. But it is great that companies are willing to provide the free upgrades for consoles, and I've talked about that before. $800 gets me a ton. I don't know, mate. Still won't be as powerful at that price range. Now, I've got to be honest. The person making these replies, as far as to this account, sounds like a console fanboy who claims that the Series X will rival an RTX 3080, or how the PS5's SSD will be leagues above any other SSD. I really don't know what they're thinking. Well, an PC be able to rival one of the consoles at 4K? Likely not, and ray tracing might not even be supported on there. I mean, depending on what you're getting. I mean, if you're getting a 3070, then yeah, you'll likely have ray tracing there. But and consider the fact that the 3070 is also cheap too. I mean, that's like one of the cheapest GPUs. That's well, I mean, considering you can actually buy one, but but yeah, like that's so dumb. But going back to the point. However, what they said, what isn't mentioned that the person brought up is how the PC will be able to play games with better textures and detailing than a console. You see, consoles generally have their settings set to medium low. The PC version of Trails of Cold 3 has a console setting for older PCs and laptops where the settings are medium. An $800 PC would be able to give you more than just medium low and have a high setting of 1080p, and having a high setting 1080p or 1440p will look better than a mid-low 4K. And again, in addition to just the textures, there's also lighting, there are shadows, like all these things that go into how the game looks. It's not just the resolution, which people, don't talk about, especially, if consoles are telling about, manufacturers telling that, saying like, yeah, our consoles do 4K, but, there's more than just the resolution. While a standard console will be cheaper, a PC can be upgraded and is more multi-purpose. PC also has emulation to basically anything and free online, versus Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, all requiring a subscription to play with friends, which is rubbish. Steam also has sales. I believe pretty much everything that this person says, but I will say that consoles do have sales. Black Friday is a good time for sales. My friend used to go to GameStop and get about 5 games for $100. That's not bad. Amazon tends to have good deals too. But I can get what this person is saying. They might not happen as frequently. I get an email about almost every week from Steam saying that an item on my wish list is on sale. So yeah, Steam sales are cool. Key sites, now they're extra cool. You get even better discounts on games. Like, I bought Dragon Ball FighterZ Ultimate Edition for $15 when it's normally $105. So I definitely saved a good chunk of change, but I digress. This might be one of the dumbest PC gaming tweets I've seen all year, and that's really saying something. Amen to that. You can literally find a PC that will play the latest games at highest settings for $550 to $650, better than any console out there still. And if you guys don't believe me, check out this build. It's definitely something to look at if you're trying to get into PC gaming. It's at the same price point as a next-gen console, and you won't have to worry about performance. So I went to the website and checked out the PC that he recommended. I am a tad bit iffy on the specs, but some of that is me being unfamiliar with the ability of certain components and potential bias. So, this has a Ryzen 3 3100 processor, which has 4 cores. This is kind of to me having those 4 cores, but it works. I mean, it's definitely better than my Ryzen 5 2500U. I'm not too knowledgeable on the GTX 1650 or 1660, so I can't say if this card is great or not. I don't know if this thing is capable of doing 1440p, but it might. I'm personally biased against 8 gigs of RAM, but that's just me, so 8 gigs might be enough. But assuming that what was said is true, this shows how much value you can get out of a PC when you're on a budget. This next thread is going to be a treat. Posts like this assume that everyone exclusively plays AAA action games. They usually also compare the console version of games to what is required to run Ultra on PCs. And of course, they leave out the myriad of benefits every PC has over consoles in the gaming department. Please read the post first. Certain games you want to play on PC, and you need the functionality of a PC. It is said right there. Functionality. I read the post first. Please phrase your sentences properly. You suggesting the consoles are the first choice unless you want to play a specific game means exactly that. To consider consoles the first choice for games with exceptions. Yes, or you want the functionality of a PC. It's in the post. Now I'm going to pull a Phoenix Wright and shout, "Hold it!" Because there is a clear contradiction here. PowerGPU said that you get a PC if you want the functionality of a PC, but in the original tweet, they said to get one if you need the functionality of a PC. That completely changes the situation. A need would be for school or work, editing a video, image, music, or any other multimedia work, or for everyday use. That would be a need. A want is for the stuff I mentioned in the beginning the beginning of this video, the benefits of PC gaming you can't get on console. And what if I don't just want to play a specific game, but a whole genre? If I love point and click games or RTS games, I'm going to be hard pressed to match the console offerings to PC offerings. That's not just a specific game. But let's go on. Yes, what is in that post is wrong. Wrong in your opinion, not just wrong as facts. That's our opinion. We are basing on what we do every day, which is build PCs for a living. Nice talk. You did not state it as an opinion. The word opinion was nowhere in your tweets. If you need a post to state it's an opinion, then you are lost. Every post is an opinion on social media. My opinion, this work. I'm so glad that they said that this tweet of theirs is an opinion. Otherwise, I would have had to blast them for being wrong. Granted, they're still wrong. Not every post on social media is an opinion. If the release date of a game is announced, that's not an opinion. It's a fact. Well, unless the game gets delayed repeatedly. And if a company that's supposed to be someone of authority, like a supposedly professional PC building company, unless it's a joke, the tweet is not just an opinion to the average Joe. It's a statement of authority, a fact. You even had the gall to say, at that range, consoles win. You're not trying to put it off as an opinion, but a fact. So yeah. I want to go back for a quick moment to look at a few other replies PowerGPU got regarding wanting the functionality of a PC. It's the other way around. You buy a console because there's exclusives on it that you can't play anywhere else. To pretend the other way is stupid. Exactly. Those statements are mostly true. The whole reason why most people buy one console over another is exclusives. You see this on social media where fanboys boast about how they can play games that other people can't. You see people defending the practice of exclusives. Exclusives are a big selling point. Plug and play isn't a real argument anymore because consoles now have updates for both the games and the system, things that were supposedly only on PC. In fact, I went to my friend's house once. We were going to play Gears of War, I think 4 on his Xbox One. The system needed a full update, and we couldn't play it until it was done. It said it needed 4 hours, which was probably because of his internet. I don't know how long console updates take. We played Diablo 3 on his PS4 instead. The point, though, is that the days of plug and play are gone. Now, the only console where I can see the argument of exclusives not being a main selling point is the Switch. It is a hybrid system where you can play games on the go. The performance won't be extraordinary depending on the game, but the feature is a key selling point. I've admitted that it's the reason as to why I wanted to get one, before a thing happened. But yeah, exclusives are the main point of consoles. So, after receiving all this criticism, PowerGPU decided to double down and made another post. They said, very ashamed of the PC community from yesterday's post. A lot of elites came out. Happy for consumers getting the new gen consoles. You will now be able to enjoy 4K 120 FPS or even 120 FPS in general. Have a good night. First off, a bunch of elites did not come out. People pointed out the flaws in their tweet and subsequent replies, and they didn't like that. They spouted information that was wrong or partially true. I don't know if these tweets were the result of a social media employee or one of the heads of the company, but their ego would not let them admit that they were wrong or believe that they were wrong. And also, not every game on the Series X or the PS5 are going to be running at 120 frames per second. I mean, seriously, like Demon Souls, that's only at best 100. And I'm sorry, that's at best like 60 frames per second, and and that's the performance mode. I mean, the cinematic mode or whatever it's called only gets to like 30 frames per second. So don't be pushing it as if the 120 frames per second is going to be like a constant throughout all the library. So like it's going to be a feature that is going to be in some games, maybe about maybe a fifth to a third of the overall library for each one. That's my estimation for games that reach 120 frames per second. It's not going to be a constant, especially if games are going to be getting more graphically demanding. Like that's not going to be possible. One last thread. This is in response to their last tweet. Because you were wrong. Now go sell your overpriced PCs. Someone replied with a screenshot of someone else's response. I don't know if this was from PowerGPU's first or second tweet. To be honest, you sell overpriced PCs. You shouldn't talk about price to performance LMAO. Sorry you can't afford them. Yeah, great professionalism, snowflake. The guy has a point. As a company, you shouldn't just make tactless comments. It's in poor taste. You need to act more professional in the business world. If you take offense to a comment, you need to grow thicker skin. Making jabs at potential clients is not a good look. The only company who can actually get away with this is Wendy's. I want to go back to the statement of overpriced PCs and powered GPU. I went to their website to see how much their PCs cost, or rather see what parts I could pick and choose to build a custom PC. What I saw were builds that they had made for others. In order to actually get started with building a PC, you have to first fill out a form with your information, budget, usage of the PC, and expectation of when you'll purchase it. This seems really weird to me. Again, I'm not saying that they aren't legitimate, but other PC building sites I've seen allow you to know what parts you're getting without filling out a form. Before I decided to build my own PC, I was going to get one from NZXT. They have starter PCs, but you can build one of your own if you would like. You name the price range, the ideal games you're looking to play, select what kind of CPU you want, and a custom PC is automatically made based on those criteria. Then you can see what components are in the build and reconfigure them. You are in full control of what goes in the build. Artesian Builds, another site I learned about recently, does the same thing. You can pick what kind of budget you're working with and the CPU type, and get straight to customizing the components of the build. If you're satisfied with what's there, you're all set. You don't need to fill out a form for all of this. But I'm done, guys. That is all the foolishness I can bear to take and want to subject you to. Again, if you enjoy gaming on console, that is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Do what makes you happy. If this were just a random person on the internet making these comments, I wouldn't have even batted an eye, let alone make this video. But this is a company that builds PCs. They of all people should know better, so I had to call them out. Anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I have a Steam gift card giveaway going on right now, so check out the description to enter. Also, follow me on Twitter to get updates on future video content or subscribe to my channel. I should have a live stream tomorrow of Neo, but we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen there. So until next time, everyone, I am Xeracon signing off. Have a good one.